Hey Leland, Benchmark Vehicles. I am here today with Noah, and we're going to talk a little bit about the safari car that we built. So we started with this 1987 Porsche Carrera, very stock original car. When I first purchased the car, I had kind of a big vision for what we were looking to get accomplished with it. And to kind of bring that vision together was a focal point of the front end. So the front end is really where the bulk of the fabrication design process came into play. And when I talked with Noah about designing the front end and the bumper, he had some amazing ideas. We wanted to make it look a little bit more refined than the standard safari style bumper, round lights and big tubes. So we really pared that down to more of a gentleman's race safari front end. Noah's an amazing artist. He drafted this up basically on a scratch piece of paper.
Something like that.
In a Sharpie, you know, in the shop. We were just staring at the car, and what came from that is what you see today. But Noah put it all into CAD. What program did you draw it all up in?
We used Fusion 360.
So Fusion 360 for front and rear bumpers, as well as the skid plates. And Noah is really the design master behind the front end of this car. And what do you think is the most unique feature, and what was the most challenging aspect of building the front end of this car?
I think the integration, everything, making sure that it all looks intentional was the most, difficult part of it. Making sure that all of the additions that we added to the car, are cohesive and really accentuate the original factory body lines, not just focusing on what we did. So integrating the Baja Designs lights, as seamlessly as possible, making sure the tolerances to the car are really, really tight were the most important and challenging things for us.
Totally. Yeah, and I think one of the coolest features about this front bumper would be the billet block. So this is a solid block of aluminum that was machined, coped, and then welded with the front tube on here. So these blocks, you can see there's no visible hardware mounting this thing to the car, right? And that was very intentional. We didn't want to see a ton of hardware, big old M8 bolts and nuts that would be exposed. You'd have to kind of finish that off in its own fashion. So Noah drafted this up, and did we 3D print this, or did we just go straight to cutting?
Yeah, so a friend of mine and myself did multiple iterations of this, 3D printing options with and without threads, making sure that, with the modifications we made to the stock length of the vehicle, it all integrated smoothly and consistently into the car.
Yeah.
So the final option, a billet block isn't a easy thing to machine, and so we wanted to make sure we got that right first try.
Yeah. So that block is tapped from the back side and a little bit behind what's going on this front bumper. So the factory bumper was actually tucked. So call that in automotive world, custom world, tuck the front bumper. So what does that mean? Well, we modified the bumper mounts, and this car, it's a US spec car, so it had compression pistons for the bumper. It's a 5-mile-an-hour crash bumper essentially that was required on many of these European cars that came out in the 80s. So of course we ditched those pistons. We used a European spec solid front tube bumper mount, chopped that 1.5 inches, Noah welded it back together, and then we bolted that to the unibody chassis here and ran those bolts exactly. We didn't really have a lot of room for error there, so there's quite a tight tolerance. And those bolts, they're not straight, they're slightly askew. So we had to match up that pattern with the front of that block to really suck everything together and sort of hold the front end of the car together. Those blocks are really what holds this aluminum bumper to the body. A big part of the modification with tucking the front bumper was actually making the factory bellows still work. And the factory bellows, I love the look of those. Those are for the compression bumper. So we didn't really want to remove those entirely from the design. I think it's still it's a sort of a signature piece of a Porsche 911 are those factory bellows. So we modified those slightly, modified the rear section of the lower valance, and really brought everything together. And it actually took quite a bit of time to get these guys to fit. Yeah. So Noah, what did it take to actually power these lights, and how are we controlling those inside the vehicle?
Yeah, so a couple of things went into that. Of course, we made a full custom harness for the Bajas, integrating two wiring sets. The clear lights in the center are on one switch, and then the ambers on the outside are a secondary switch. Those are then wired into the Switch Pro, which we're using on almost all of our vehicles at this point. And then interior, we made a custom 3D printed mount to replace the ashtray, which integrates everything really seamlessly to give that kind of OE plus look that we're always looking for.
Yeah, super smooth, completely flush mounted. We've got room for more, lighting and different accessories. We've got an ARB single motor compressor under the front trunk here. So when we need to air back up, it's ready to go. So onboard air was critical part of the design here. We've got undercarriage lights as well. And it's really kind of nice. You can program that Switch Pros and have the lights dim or have them strobe or whatever you want to do with it. It's a really cool feature. But yeah, Noah's idea on 3D printing the Switch Pros mount in place of the ashtray was brilliant. It came out beautifully, and I couldn't imagine this car without that.
No, it's really ties in all the features of the car, both interior and exterior.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice work.
Thank you.
Yeah.